I am not deep in the R&B sphere, right? I think this is known. This is
Yeah.
known. You know, my opinions on K1 are feared. You
Are feared. Can we stop the podcast? Are feared.
know what?
Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. We review a new album every single week. We look at the lyrics, the production, the overall aesthetic of the album, and how that album fits into the context of that artist's career. For everyone watching on YouTube, we thank you. We appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to us, and leave us a comment. Let us know how wrong we always are. My name is Adriel Smiley, aka Champion Scribe, and we are here with His Royal Highness, aka the Bunny, aka the Biggest Munch, aka Green Goblin, King
The
Grant.
biggest bunch. That's aggressive. I don't know if that's true. Well, welcome.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah, depend. Yeah, it depends on who you ask. Welcome back, everybody. It's Album Mode. This time we're reviewing the great Kehlani. Kehlani and her album Kehlani. One of the people in this R&B sphere that I would say I was quizzical until I actually heard her music from the very beginning. Then I was more on board. So I was actually low-key looking forward to this. I look forward to Kehlani's music dropping. She's kind of like a Gucci Mane figure where I feel like she's always releasing music, like always, like every year she's dropping something. So
Interesting.
I've been I was looking forward to this just because I like seeing what happens when she releases a full album, right? That's what interests me. So she's like, while we wait too. She's got a bunch of EPs and stuff like that. But I'm like, okay, when the big project is coming around, what actually happens? So I was looking forward to this. What about you?
It's funny because I feel like you forgot that we did a Kehlani review
I did.
before. And I think this is probably the most excited I've been for a Kehlani project just because it folded. Now I
Mm,
have my Kehlani hot takes, those thoughts. I think I'm gonna let them go at the beginning here. Give us some framework for this episode. Um, but I think Kehlani has made an intentional effort to stay away from the middle of pop and R&B and has been kind of the anti of that, and it's matched in terms of the visuals, the music, the aesthetic. It's all been not what's in the center. And I think this is where I realized that has maybe hurt her a little bit.
right.
I think that there's a part of Kehlani's music where I want to hear Kehlani make these like huge pop R&B records. Like I think about the early 2000s when you had, Alicia Keys, Mario, Usher, Neo, all making these like hit soulful records. I want to see Kehlani, you know, try at that. And I think Folded, we finally got that, and I was like, okay, we've turned the page. So I was very excited for this project because I think a record like Folded is an absolute classic R&B record. It's going to be here for a long time.
Yep.
But I think this is the kind of record I think to myself, Kehlani could have made this 10 years ago. This doesn't feel like lightning in a bottle for how talented she is. I feel like she had this in her, but maybe just this felt almost too basic of a record for her to make.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Folded is one of those songs where you're gonna be hearing that for the rest of your life, I think. I think that's one of those, especially when your girl is mad at you. That one's coming out. That one's playing. That's right. That one's right next to the Beyonce song to the left. I can't remember the actual name of the song though.
Irreplaceable.
Irreplaceable. That's going right next to Irreplaceable in the in the R&B lexicon, I
Hmm.
think. So, I thought that Folded when it came out. Yeah, I think you're right. I'm thinking more about it now, where it's like she could have released this um years and years ago, and it could have totally been in her musical lexicon and not stuck out in any sort of way. I don't think she's trying to make any sort of grab for the center though. I don't feel that. Even listening to this album, I never really felt that.
I think that's a problem. I kind of want her to. I can,
Okay.
and this is the reason why. Because I want to talk about our last review because that's lets you know where we're at as Kehlani fans and how we feel about the music. But R&B is one of those genres that is, it's almost like, lightning in a bottle in a sense where making music that becomes the biggest music in the world or in the center of the genre doesn't make you less credible as an artiste.
Hmm.
And I think that's not the case for every genre. You think about 90s R&B with groups like Boys to Men and Jodeci, New Edition, even Mariah Carey having some of the biggest songs in human history. That didn't make them less of an artiste. They didn't
Okay.
lose their credibility in that way. R&B is unique as a genre in that sense. And I feel like a lot of these songs are overwritten to kind of avoid the simplicity of that kind of R&B. Maybe I'm reaching Kehlani fans. Hop in the comments early and often. Let me know how I'm wrong here. We did our last review in June of 2024 for Crash. That feels like longer ago than
Yeah.
it seems. Do
Maybe
you
it's
remember the
just because
score
our.
that?
Go ahead.
Do you remember the score that you gave it?
Maybe a six. Maybe. I don't
Oh
even remember
wow!
it really, so it's maybe a five, to be
You
honest.
gave it a 4. I gave it a 5.
Yeah, I don't even
Um,
remember it, to be honest.
yeah, I really don't remember that album either. Can you remember a song from that album? Oh, sorry.
No.
Before you even go on, this is how you know. This is like a test that I've done at work a bunch of times.
Hmm.
You know, an album is not like part of an artist like good albums when you go to their albums on Spotify and it's not actually in order.
Yeah.
It goes Kehlani and then it skips all the way until it was good until it wasn't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that lets you know where Crash lands. In that, I have a couple
Yep.
songs saved. She has a song with Young Miko. I
Yeah.
have that one saved.
That's our girl.
Deep, deep. Yeah, of course, big shout out Young Miko. So not absolutely nothing. But we talked about it earlier, and that song is folded. This song basically blew up. And it just kind of avalanche and avalanche and avalanched. And it's so crazy because Kehlani is like one of the best versions of this, but there's a group of artists who they're known for what they look like. They're very popular online. People may not know their music.
Right.
Kehlani was a version of that for a long time. And I think there were her fans who knew her music, but there were people who were not her fans who just knew who she was, what she looked like, and maybe whoever she was dating at the time. I think Folded was the first time where it was like, okay, everyone knows the person and the song together. It ended up winning 2 Grammys. Okay, best
Yeah.
R&B song, best R&B performance, and that was basically like the lead into this album as like, okay, Kehlani has officially quote unquote crossed over.
Yeah, I think that you're totally right about like, I felt like she was more of like a seen versus heard person, which is kind of interesting consider how much she changes her appearance. I feel like I've seen her with so many different haircuts, different hair color, but the tattoos, she is totally riddled with tattoos in a good way. And it's just like she is such a very outstanding appearance that she was more famous than she was musician at that point,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
But now I think that it's starting to match up a little bit closer at least. I think but you know what the thing is? I think that the people who really like Kehlani love Kehlani. They're in 110%.
Yep.
But if you're not in but if you're not in 110% like that, then you're just like, oh, it's the lady with the tattoos. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
So, she's a different person, a different beast. But, I actually, leading into this, I have actually heard every Kehlani album except for one.
Okay.
Which is kind of surprising to myself, to be honest, because I'm not one of those people who are in 110%, but I know or I knew because back then when I really started listening to her music was the people who like her a lot and will always bring her up. So I'm like, but why though? So
Mm.
I've been dialed in. That's part of the reason why I was looking forward to this because I know it's like I don't know. It's like being a scholar in like living in one country, but being a scholar of like a different one or something like that. It's like being a scholar of like ancient Rome, even though you live in like Egypt or something. Or that's a bad example because Egypt and Rome ended up crossing over. But you know what I mean, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
But that's yeah, that's kind of it. Where it's like, okay, I've kind of like studied on this person just because I know to a certain group of people, a large group of people, she's like everything, right? So I wanted to know. So that's why I've been looking forward to this really, because I'm like, okay, what does it mean for a new Kehlani album to come out, and also for it to be named after her? That's really interesting.
Yeah, I think like similar to Beyonce and her self-titled album, I think when you have a self-titled album this far into your career, I think even your people who are not your hardcore fans take notice,
Yeah.
and everyone's antennas go up. The one thing about this album that really struck me, and this is before I even listened to it, was how many features were on this thing. Okay.
Let's
And
talk about the
usually,
features.
yeah, usually I think this many features on an album like this from someone like Kehlani, an eyebrow is raised.
Yep.
Okay, it's a little bit scary. I'm gonna read off some of them, and then I want you to tell me what your favorite one is.
Ooh.
We have music from Lil Wayne, The Clips, Brandy, Missy Elliott, Usher, T-Pain, Lil Jon, Cardi B, Big Sean, and Leon Thomas. Now, before you even get started,
Hmm.
one thing about all these acts, legacy acts, and Kehlani is technically a legacy act herself. And so I think that's important here because the only quote unquote new act in this group is Leon Thomas. So
Hmm.
with a feature list full of legends, which one's your favorite?
Missy Elliott. By a pretty significant margin. Oh, look at you didn't think I was gonna say that, did you?
No,
But you know
no.
what's also because of the yacht rap playlist. Shout out to the yacht rap playlist. Follow the yacht rap playlist if you are not following that, by the way. I have been listening to more women in hip hop, just like trying to make sure that I'm really getting to the bottom of that. So I've actually been listening to Missy Elliott's music a lot recently. So when I heard this, I was like, oh, here we go. Like, get a little modern Missy, you know? And I thought that she was going crazy on the mic. I think that, Missy Elliott's modern appearances are dicey. To put it lightly, to be honest, because I don't think she's, to be frank, I'm not very confident in the music that she's making at the moment, but she is a top 50 and a hip hop legend. So, but when this song came out, um, I was first of all taken aback by how much of it she was actually on. Like she went first before anything even happens. She goes first. So that basically is like the tone setter for your entire song. So I was impressed by that. I was impressed by the verse, even though it wasn't super super in depth. But the fact that she is there, she's even doing a bridge. Like I was happy about that. I liked it a lot. I love this song just overall. But yeah, so I was big on the Missy feature. What about you? I want to hear what you have to say because there's a lot of people on this album where I'm like, oh, this is an Adriel person. Lil Wayne, Clips, Usher, Brandy, like T-Pain, Big Sean, Leon Thomas. These are your people, yo. All of them are your people.
The Missy Elliott feature was what I was most excited for, and I was actually very disappointed.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw
wait,
Missy a
what
couple
part
of
were you
years
disappointed
ago.
about? What was?
The song overall, I
You
think
didn't like the
the
song?
bones of having Missy all over the record instead of just a verse was
Mm,
great. Like I liked Missy's presence all over the record, but I was kind of like, I'm just hyped that Missy is here. Once I listen like a second or third time, I'm like, oh, it's actually not as what I hoped it would be.
hmm
So that record was disappointing. And again, like I saw Missy a couple of years ago, still in great shape, still an amazing performer.
hmm
So legends all over this thing. For me, my favorite on here is between two artists, okay? And you're right, these are a lot of my people on here. But it's between Cardi B and Big Sean.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
I think the Cardi B record absolutely surprised me. It reminded me that Kehlani is on Invasion of Privacy, which is like again,
Is she?
she's I think higher in terms of celebrity than she is musically.
Yeah,
But
she
she's
is.
on that. This is I guess part of the swap.
She is.
I actually like this record. I don't love Cardi B's verse, but I think this kind of record I thought Cardi B would kind of like steamroll over and not
Mhm.
work well with. And she actually works well on here. But I think Big Sean on Lights On, to me, I was like, this should have been a single. I feel like this
Wake
song
that up.
gives. This song gives single energy, and I think too, it's like this is the song that I think mixes the Kehlani's kind of sound. That's like more that like rock you to bed type of R&B and not like dancey R&B. And I think like the content of her verse and Big Sean's verse work well together. So that to me is a favorite one on here. And I think like that's a good place for me to jump off in terms of the songs I kind of liked or didn't like
Hmm.
on this project, because I kind of had these songs in a couple categories.
Okay.
Because this, someone who's a Kehlani fan said to me that this album sounds like AI.
That's
They,
insane to me.
they said this album sounds like if you said, make a Kehlani song like this. And
Okay.
I'm not as big as a Kehlani fan, so I said, I felt a little bit of that energy, but I said, maybe I don't know. There are things that I don't know. I'm not the man who knows everything.
Okay.
And I think that you said that she's not trying to go to the middle as much. I think there are actual attempts at the middle on here, but they just don't land. One
What
for
is the
me
what
is
is the
Shoulda
okay.
Never with Usher.
You don't like that
Like,
song? You didn't like that song?
no.
You don't.
This may be the Janelle Monáe review all over again, and you just like the watered down version of all these things. This may be that all over again,
But
but Shoulda Never
here's
feels like a song that anyone could have done.
okay, here's the thing with this song. Shoulda Never, first of all. When I listened to this song, you know what it reminded me of? This album, honestly, started making me think about, I'm like, oh, all the people she should have collabed with, right? And when I listened to Shoulda Never, this reminded me, remember that one Khalid album that we liked and like literally nobody else cared about?
I have that in my notes too. That same
I'm
album, yeah.
like, he should have been on this shit, dropping whatever he was doing on that. He should have been doing that on this in Usher's place. Like, I think he would have actually.
So how does that make me wrong? Khalid is more pop R&B than
Mhm.
R&B pop. And that's
Right.
what I'm saying. Like, this is her trying to do the pop R&B thing, and it's not
Yeah.
So you agree she's doing pop R&B thing?
I think no, I think she is doing a pop R&B thing, but I don't feel like. Well, I was gonna ask you. I'm like, what is the center right now? When you're saying the center of music, what are we talking about? Because center of pop right now looks like Olivia Rodrigo. That looks like Sabrina Carpenter. They're not making anything like this. Sabrina Carpenter made like just on the precipice of even making something like this.
I wouldn't even call them the center because I'm more thinking about who's out right now. But I'm talking pop R&B center, where there's always a space in pop for R&B centered music, like a Ariana Grande
Sure.
or Justin Bieber. That always exists. So it's not even a current thing to me. R&B for the past 40 years has had this, allegiance to the center of where pop is, where you can make an R&B record that's a little pop influenced and it can work. So
Hmm.
that's why I brought up this whole thing about R&B as a genre at the beginning, is because R&B and pop mixing together is kind of this timeless thing that doesn't always have to match whatever the Sabrina Carpenters, Olivia Rodriguez of the world are doing. So that's what I mean at the center is like, go from Ariana Grande to Justin Bieber to older Usher to the night. Like that
Hmm.
has always been a marriage that works. So
Okay.
when I say the center, I mean just almost the center historically, not even
Okay.
just 2026.
Okay. Okay. Then yeah, I'm in there. But this is the era or the type of R&B that I like because I actually felt when I was listening to this album, Kehlani. It's weird saying listening to Kehlani, but talking about the album, not the person. But when listening to Kehlani, I was like, I felt a little groove in the songs. Felt a little dancey, you know? I felt a little dancey on this, bro. Like the pop R&B, I think for me is working. Like I think a song like Back and Forth I like a lot because again, I really love the production on that. It's bordering on UK drill, like that like Central C style of UK drill almost. And then the song with Usher, I'm about it. But I like Usher's music. And I
You,
like I like Usher's music. I like Khalid's music. Like I don't know why I can't like Kehlani and Usher's music. Like
no, I like Kehlani, Usher, and Khalid. Okay, I'm rooting for everybody
yeah,
black during Afro April,
yeah.
but I think this is actually an example of something we talked about a month and so ago,
Hmm.
and during the Harry Styles review.
Mm,
And I think now we come around where you are the Harry Styles fan I was talking about a month ago, and during
mm,
this review,
mhm.
I think like when I heard back and forth, it reminded me of Let It Go with Missy, Keisha Cole, and Lil Kim. That song has like a whole bunch more funkiness than this record. So this record feels like a watered down version of a Let It Go. And maybe Let It Go is not in your playlist very often, so this is can suffice.
Mhm.
But I think the general R&B millennial, fan, Let It Go is like one of those automatic records you want to hear when you go out.
Yeah,
And that's what this is against trying to do. So I feel like the I don't want to say the more authentic or more, deeper version of these
mhm.
records, that's not really on here. There's a couple times where I feel like I like you got it. I think Shoulda Never has some parts of that, but I think these are all watered down
Yeah.
versions of the records they're trying to emulate. Like you sent a song to me this week, you with Lloyd and Lil Wayne.
Mhm.
That Lil Wayne ain't on here. Like that, and Lil
Oh,
Wayne has had
okay,
a
yeah, I
ton
see what you're
of
talking about.
he has
You
a
by
ton of
Lloyd.
great.
Hold on, let's preface that for the people that we're talking about because you just said
Mm,
you, so that kind of
mm,
doesn't make any sense. You by Lloyd. I sent a song,
mm.
You by Lloyd and Lil Wayne. Again, for the Yacht Rap playlist. Make sure you subscribe.
Yes,
And make sure you subscribe to Album Mode, by the way. Fucking
yes.
subscribe to our podcast because we're the only people basically on planet Earth that goes like in depth on the albums like this. Like, if you can find another podcast that's doing what we're doing, genuinely, please send that
Send
to
it, send it,
me. Yeah,
send it.
please send that to me because I would
But
love to hear it.
you, Lloyd, featuring
Yeah,
Lil Wayne.
right.
Lil Wayne is notorious for having great rap R&B features. He drops the ball on this one completely. And I think if you're the casual fan who doesn't know Lil Wayne for that and you don't think of that when you hear this might be fine to you.
Mhm.
But there are fans who hear Lil Wayne, Kehlani, and hear Lil Wayne start the song, and you go, "Okay, we're about to get like how he starts on You with him and Lloyd."
Mhm.
So I think like I don't want to go through every example of a song they've done before. It's better the clips, like I Love You, whatever. That's not fair to Kehlani,
Mhm.
but I think all these are kind of worse versions of the better version of these songs.
Okay.
But I think if you're not familiar, these
Mhm.
songs are fine. These are not bad records, but I think being familiar probably hurts the listener in some of these instances.
Okay. I love that you're saying that because you know what the difference is between me and you and the person you were referring to? I am not deep in the R&B sphere, right? I think this is known. This is
Yeah.
known. You know, my opinions on K1 are feared. You
Are feared. Can we stop the podcast? Are feared.
know what?
It's like, what is this guy?
um, not in a bad way because I don't want people to make it sound like some crazy shit. It's just like that very 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 like core R&B. Hold on, my video's got out of focus.
There
Okay,
you
here we go.
go.
Um, the very, very core center of R&B, like R&B, 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 no other subgenre attached to, I could care less about this. It does not resonate for me for whatever reason, but basically every other branch of R&B works for me. Alternative R&B, Frank Ocean, The Weeknd, Leon Thomas, etc. Right? And then this pop version of R&B also works for me. Right? I think the closest I've ever gone to just like strictly R&B was like 90s Aaliyah that I like. Right? But that's kind of it. But the people I just referred, right? They take from her and make a different genre, right? Like The Weeknd and Drake took from Aaliyah to make this dark style of R&B, right? So there is I don't know, like that very just like neutral R&B, it doesn't work for me. It's so boring. So like to get these songs where the people like Brandy and Usher are artists that do make, so I would say Usher some of like half of the time or something like that makes that very centrist R&B like style of music, Brandy as well. Um, I'm not really there listening to those tracks. I've heard their hit songs. I've heard some deep cuts that are really good, but not in that area. So when they surface and make a song with Kehlani where it's a little bit more pop R&B influence or infused, I'm like, okay, now we're talking again. Like to me, when Usher does this, Usher in my head, for everybody else in the Usher fandom, they're like, oh, this is kind of like the pop Usher, it's not like real Usher, you're not diving in deep on Confessions or whatever. But to me, right, this is like adjacent to like yeah or something. You know what I mean?
But
Like this is
I
adjacent,
think
like this
I
sense.
think
Go ahead.
I think what you're saying is kind of where I'm trying to, I guess, see where Kehlani's like attempting to go.
Hmm.
Because what I'm saying is the pop version is more what I want to hear from her.
I agree. I'm in there.
I don't want to hear her go more traditional Jasmine Sullivan style. Like
Yes.
I think she can do that, but I want, and this is why I brought up the Ushers and the Brandies, because Confessions being the hit album that it was with songs like Burn and Yeah,
Hmm.
that wasn't like less musical or less artiste.
I'm not saying
It's
that. I'm
still
not saying that it is. Don't get me wrong. I'm
no
never saying
no.
that.
I my point is no one says that.
Oh, okay.
So there's no reason not to do it if that's what you're going for from an aesthetic standpoint in 2026.
Right.
If you're trying to be seen as the artiste, you can still make a song like Folded, which was a huge record, and no one's saying Kehlani sold out for making Folded.
Right.
You see how no one says that? Like that's not a thing that people say. So I think like there's some safety in there of like it's safe to do more R&B fusion records
Hmm.
because you still will kind of keep your credibility. You talked about you like them the dances involved. Someone you love doing that is Georgia Smith. You
Yep.
talked about the pop version of it as well. Like there's Brandy on here who was amazing at that in her prime.
Yep.
You know, the song with T Pain and Lil Jon. I have some thoughts about that that we're gonna get to, but I think that
Oh.
my gripe with this is I feel like she makes the attempt, but I don't know that all these land. And I
Okay.
think my biggest example of that before I get to Call Me Back is that for me, Folded still feels like the best song on here. And
I don't
Folded, it
agree. I'm not there.
feels like the more traditional R&B pop record.
Hmm.
And then there's songs like Ooh, like someone told me Ooh is trying to be Kiss It Better, which is hilarious. But I think Call Me Back, when I heard that song came on, the beat originally brought up the nostalgic millennial in me. I was like, ooh, okay, we're back in the day right
Yeah,
now.
this is like
Snap your
2005, bro.
fingers.
Yes, snap your finger.
Snap your fingers. Do your step. And I thought
Oh
that's where we're
man.
headed.
Yes, that's what I
And I,
thought too.
and I like some of the writing on here. But once the song kind of got all the way through, Little John at the end, I was like, who wants to hear this?
Okay.
Like,
You
who
didn't
is
like
this for?
you didn't like Pocket? Pocket, I thought I Pocket is probably my number one song on this.
No, Pocket
Uh
I like a lot.
Very sensual. It still has like a nice pace to it. Like the BPM is high on that, despite being a very sexy song. It is definitely a sex related song.
Hmm.
Um, the double entendre, the pocket thing, that works. I think that Cardi B's rapping was good on it. Like for example, I'm gonna give you a lyric here where this is in verse one. This is verse one in the refrain. Uh, my little Flaminia, come and heat it up. This mignon, eat it up. Oh, can you hold it down? Is you pee enough? Okay, a little hip hop crossover. Let's get out of town. We can beat and beat it up. Make a mess and clean it up. Bloom in bed. Put a new flower in your garden. All this rev, that horsepower got me started. So pardon me, I fold like laundry, crossover between songs, soak through my lingerie. So take it off me, yeah. So I like that she is crossing over between genres, saying is it P enough or are you P enough? Rev, all this rev, that horsepower to get me started. It's a good illusion. Then so pardon me, I fold like laundry. That is like slang to fold somebody, crossing over between songs, crossing over between themes. I thought it was well written. I like this song a lot. I like the tempo. I like the production overall. Flames. I don't know. I think that it's well. I think her songs are well written. I think it sounds good. I felt a little dancey. It felt like a little head bob. Listen to this song. Where's the problem at? What's everybody mad at? Why is everybody upset? Why does
I,
everybody look mad?
I can't say I'm upset. I think I'm more disappointed than upset. I still feel like there's a quality in the writing
Hmm.
where it feels like Kehlani's almost, and it's funny, I have overwriting in my notes. I wouldn't even call it overwriting. I always call it almost overperforming.
Okay.
Where it's like this could be sung in a more simple way. Maybe that's just too simple. Maybe that is too simple. We can't do it that way. My last song I want to highlight was Sweet Nothings with her and Leon Thomas. This feels like the best mix of her style and the commercial sound.
This sounded bomb. The production on this is crazy. Is it Pharrell produced? It has that 4 count at the beginning.
Let's look at the credits
It
here.
has the 4 count thing at the beginning that Pharrell
I
does.
don't see any Pharrell production on
Okay.
here.
Can we refrain from stealing producer tags, please? Especially Pharrell's. What? Why?
That's not a producer tag. He didn't
That
make
is a
that up.
Pharrell thing. The
No,
4 count thing is a Pharrell thing. He
Pharrell
absolutely
has
did.
made it popular, but he didn't make that up. That's
Yeah,
been
but it's
happening
him.
before Pharrell was born. He didn't make that
They were
up.
doing it like that. They were no. Okay, whatever.
Yes, he's known for it, but
Okay.
he didn't make that up. Music has been
Okay.
around before
Fine. I'll
Pharrell.
be okay. It's okay. I'll be over here protecting Pharrell's legacy. I'll be that person. I'm not afraid to be that person. I, if Pharrell needs a soldier, I'll be a soldier for Pharrell. I'm not upset with that.
I'm screaming. No, Pharrell didn't make that up. But I like this song a lot. I think this
Me
is
too.
probably the best production actual mix of the two.
What about it? What about the
Um,
production do you like?
I think it's the tempo and I think the way they use the guitars and the keys to make this sound full. It's
Okay.
like it's still Kehlani where it's like, okay, this is a full record. It's not like because I think the bad rap that some of like the pop R&B records get, especially someone like Ariana Grande,
Mhm.
is like, oh, this beat is whack or it's lazy or it's just a simple loop. This is not that. Like there are definitely elements in this where you're like, okay, like there's a bridge coming, there's a progression.
Mhm.
And then I think like the way the beat changes a little bit for Leon Thomas's verse, his
Yeah.
voice I think works so well on here. So listen, there are things that I like. I don't want to come off as the Grinch Who Stole Christmas and I hate this album. I think this is more of my expectations of what Kehlani can do.
Okay.
But I think my main, I guess, takeaway in terms of what this means for a career with this project
Mhm.
is I feel like we've talked about the center of pop R&B. Like this is where the hits are. Like, I advise anyone leave this podcast or while listening, YouTube it or Google it. The most, best-selling songs of all time, top 30 or 40 songs. You're gonna see a ton of R&B songs in there, a
Mhm.
ton of soul records in there, and it's kind of been that marriage of song. And I think she had that with Folded, which is like a slower record for what we're talking about. But again, you've seen all these R&B ballads become huge, huge, huge songs, and I think she's never fully made that crossover until now. And I think my biggest gripe is that like some of these records that I think are attempted at a crossover,
Mhm.
it's like this actually would have been better if you just did what you normally do.
You don't like
No
you didn't
such
like the
thing.
song with Clips?
No such thing.
You didn't like that?
No.
You didn't like that?
No.
Didn't that sound like it was they sampled Running by Farside?
No, I can see that. I can see
It
that.
sounded like it. I tried to look it up and I didn't get
Oh
any
no,
results.
they must have. I don't see it
I
in the credits here, but they must
Yeah,
have.
I looked it up and I was like, this sounds a lot like Running by Farside, but I haven't seen that credit anywhere. But I don't know. I thought the production was cool. When I was listening to it, I heard Malice come on, and I was like, wait a second, wow, that's actually him. So I don't know. See, the thing is, I did this because you don't like it as much as me. I don't even have to talk about the songs that I don't like because there's a couple of songs that I don't like. Like I'll just mention them just so people know. "Call Me Back" by T-Pain and Lil Jon.
Yeah.
It's a
Myths.
little bit 2005 to me. And then still, okay, I will say this, still and Out the Window, which I'm pretty sure those are beloved. Just
Yeah, Out the
because,
Window was a single.
yeah, I'm pretty sure those are beloved just because those are the R&B songs I'm talking about. I don't fucking care. Like I really couldn't give a shit about these two songs. Get them out the playlist, bro. You got everything else. There's so much else going on that to grind it down to a halt for those two songs, it's not worth it. Also, the singles. I know you want to get onto what this means for her, but I think this kind of uh wraps into that. The singles. I think that the singles were. Let me get this right here. The singles were folded. Okay.
And out the window.
Out the window and back and forth was also a single with Missy Elliott, but that was probably a later one.
Hmm.
Yeah, it came out April 10th, so it was a late one. Uh, the single selection is a little bit dubious. Folded, I get you. Out the window, none of the album actually sounds like Out the Window. It's only Out the Window and Still that really sound like that. So I don't really know why she did that. Maybe she was just throwing that for the R&B girlies, throwing them a bone. But I'm like, probably could have done the Leon Thomas, Cardi B.
Yeah, I think one of those Leon Thomas, Big Sean, Cardi B,
Yeah.
one of those would I think would have done well.
And it also looks
Uh,
bigger. It would have looked bigger. Like if it's you featuring Cardi B for the single, that looks like a bigger song.
looks like and Pockets is a good song. Like it's not
Yeah, it
like
is a
you would
good
have
song.
looked corny. Like that's a good
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're talking about a little bit about what it means for her career.
Hmm.
Out the window, actually, that was a good choice as a single. I know that that kind of R&B is not your type of jam, but listen, I forecast today, God willing,
It's probably gonna
that
be the
you will
most
be in
popular.
no, not even that, that you are in such love that you love these songs. That's what I'm hoping for. That we see in 2026, 2027, Demar falls in such a deep love
Oh
that he's
man.
listening to Out the Window on repeat.
You know what
Okay.
you know what the thing is? That may happen because there was a time where I listened to Drake and I'm like, oh yeah, Drake's cool. Like he's got cool music. Then I went through a breakup this one time where and then I turned on some Drake and I was like, oh, I was like, ah, I see what's happening here. It's like I saw what was happening, but now I got the third eye open. You know what I mean? So
So I said,
maybe
listen,
it'll happen.
knowing you personally, your lack of an affinity for that traditional R&B makes more sense than you even realize. So
Mm.
I completely understand. Listen, one day it will all make sense.
Yeah, one day
What
I'll
this
find
means
her.
what this means for her career, I like I think it's a win, even though I don't like the album, because I think she's like when you attach an album to a big song like Folded, that's helpful.
Yeah.
It's helpful regardless. And I think she's gonna be in places and known by people she wasn't known by before. So I think even
Yeah.
though the album's not great, I think it's helpful for her career.
I think attaching her name to Folded twice, basically, because it's folded by Kehlani on the album called Kehlani. Brilliant. Right? Because no matter what, you Google that song, you're trying to find that song, it's her and her name beside it every single fucking time. Like there's no way you
Mm-hmm.
don't see her name beside it. And also, yeah, that's and also the album cover is just her face, right? So I think she made a brilliant decision in recognizing like this is probably my biggest song and probably might be my biggest song ever. Hopefully not, but it may be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, that's me, my album named me, also my face. Like there is no mistake on anything that happens here. And I think that was really, really smart by her. I think the album overall is going to be a plus. I think the collabs were really good. This is again, we're different. We're on different ends of the spectrum. I think the collabs are good. I think who she picked for the collabs was also very smart too. She has Leon Thomas. She has Cardi B. As Cardi B just dropped her album, she's on tour, all that type of stuff. Then she's got old legends like Usher, Brandy. She snuck in a Clips feature. I feel like that's underrated. Like that Clips feature is good, bro.
No,
Um,
it's a big deal. It's a
yeah.
big deal.
So for her to have the people that she has young, old, little in between, everybody on it, it's in the mix in some way. I thought it was brilliant. So I think this is a big album for her. I think it's be good. I
What do you
think it's
think about
probably
the
gonna be a.
cover?
I love the cover. But Kehlani is a beautiful woman, so it's kind of hard to it's kind of hard not to love the cover to keep it 1,000.
Kehlani is part of the short list of people who I followed on Instagram, but do not listen to their music on a consistent
Wow,
basis. So that lets you know what I think about Kehlani.
that is rare.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I think the cover is great. I already mentioned part of the reason why. Yeah, and also her tattoos are still in it too, so she's still the lady with the tattoos.
Hmm.
But we know exactly who she is now. So I'm big on the album cover. It's a nice color. It's like a red, purplish. I like it. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think what this means going forward for her in terms of like her whole career, it remains to be seen
Hmm.
because having an album with all these big features, like you said, like legacy acts on legacy acts, like I don't know how many albums we're going to review this year that have these kind of features on the album. Like this might be the biggest, album in terms of features we review all of 2026.
Hmm.
So maybe those songs become bigger just off of that over time. But this is not a no skips to me. It's not a vinyl cop to me. And I think the space she's in, and it's funny because this is a space a lot of artists would die to be in,
Hmm.
but she's one of those artists where if you name her, people are gonna say, "Oh yeah, I love her," or "I rock with her." Like people
Hmm.
know who she is. But if I say, Demar, name me five Kehlani songs, you need some time. And I think like that is my, I guess, worry about her career going forward because her name is growing larger. We have
Yeah.
another song to add to the list in terms of Folded. You have Folded, but now that her name is even larger, it's like how large can an artist be when no one can name any of their songs?
That is extremely interesting. I think Folded is a bullet point in her discography. Like
Bolded.
that, yeah, bullet point, underline, italicized, everything. I think that is an interesting concept. But I will say that there are people, like I mentioned at the very, very beginning, the people who like Kehlani love Kehlani. They're in their 110%. And I happen to be and they're like a 50%. Like I heard a lot of the
Hmm.
songs, but I'm not like into her like that.
Hmm.
And you seem like even less so, just like I listen to R&B. She's one of the people.
Hmm.
So I think that we're on the fringe in a way that Kehlani people are not. That doesn't exist. We kind of just orbit them. So, yeah, I think that for me, this is not a no skips, but it is a vinyl cop. I think that yeah, it's a pretty I would say pretty easy vinyl cop. It would be close to it. It would be a no skips if we cut out the two songs in the middle that I was talking about, but it is what it is.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
Do you have anything else to say before we talk about the score?
No.
Okay. Adriel, what's your score for Kehlani's Kehlani?
For Kehlani's album, Kehlani, this is a 5 out of 10 for me.
Wow.
Um, is that so bad?
Whoa. Well, I mean, after this hearing this podcast, just listening to you speak, I
That
was,
feels
I was,
high.
I was, I was pretend, I was anticipating a five, but to actually hear it come out of your mouth is a little bit different.
Well, here's the thing. I got one, two, three, four, six, 7 songs liked on this album. This album is 17 songs minus the intro.
So 16.
16. 7 out of 16, not actually a pass. For
Hmm.
those of you who are still in school, then make sure you focus on your maths. But this album is not bad.
Okay.
I think I have higher expectations of what she's capable of. And maybe that's just a me thing. I need to get over it in a sense. This album is necessarily not bad, but I do think there are a lot less songs on here that I'm gonna actually go back to. And
Okay.
I really like my comparison of this is like the Janelle Monáe of R&B in terms of you
Mm,
liking it,
hmm.
where the Janelle Monáe album, all I could say was these are like watered down reggae and dancehall songs. Like
Hmm.
this is like she ain't ever been to a Caribbean island in her life. And you were there like, this is great. You know what I
Yeah, I love
mean?
a
So
party. I love a party, guys. Like I don't know if anybody knows me in real life. I've said this before. I hate the club, but I love a house party. I love a house party. When we're trying to do that's what part of the reason why I love Don Toliver. I love a house
mhm.
party, bro.
Yeah,
So
I think the watered down version of these records is maybe like an inside baseball thing that the casual fan won't notice, pick up, or care about.
mhm.
But seeing the divergence between the two of us, I feel more comfortable with my score.
Well, you should feel bad about that because given so many of my musical and sports takes, I'm looking like Nostradamus right now. But I will say for me and Kehlani's Kehlani, I guess Kehlani 2026. That's how it would be written down.
Mm-hmm.
This is an 8 out of 10, maybe even 8.5. I think the look on Angel's face. Oh my god, the audio listeners, man. I wish you guys could see the look on his face. This is an 8 out of 10. I wouldn't say 8.5 out of 10. I think that it's well written. I think that the production is amazing. I love the production. I like that she has. I mean, I listen to all of Kehlani's music, so I know that she loves a down tempo. She loves a very somber song, right? She's had some hip hop stylings in there. I like Cloud 19 a lot. Um, that was at the very beginning, by the way. So I know that she can get down, but this could have been a very what I would call centrist R&B album, where it's very down tempo, very toxic, very moody. Uh, but she escaped that. It's like let's throw some hip hop artists on there. Let's start dancing a little bit. Let's have some fun out here. Make some double entendres. And it's a good time. I'm enjoying it. It's a good time. You
Let
know,
us know in the comments. Has Demar lost his
I'm having a
mind,
good time.
or is he on the right side of history?
I'm having a
I'm
great time.
very, very 8.5.
I think
I
it's
love
eight, eight and a
Kehlani.
half. It's like 8.25, but we don't really do 8.25.
Yeah, and you know what I think is so interesting with this, and I want to hear what people think in the comments about everything that I'm saying, everything that Demar is saying,
Mhm.
because so much of the songs that I'm referencing may not be what the general public are aware of,
Yeah.
or they're not in their head when they hear these songs. And I think that Missy Elliott song you referenced at the top, that made it clear to me because I could not hear, you know, the song with her, Lil Kim, and Keisha Cole.
Hmm.
And I feel like maybe I'm alone in that. Maybe that song didn't even come to your mind when you heard the Missy Elliott song.
No, it
And
didn't.
it was just good enough. So I think, maybe there's almost too many references that I have as an old head
Yeah, old
music
head
listener.
R&B fan. There's a difference, and I think that's really where it's the everything is spinning. Is I talk about home genres all of the time, but I think this is one of those situations where it's like I think my home space is like I like new hip hop a lot, right?
Hmm.
Obviously I've listened to older hip hop, but this and I like older R&B, but that current range of where R&B is right now, I'm not a fan. So if we can figure out a space away from that, I like everything but the center of R&B right now. Like if you do anything outside of that, I'm like I'm about this. This is actually pretty sick. So maybe that's it because when you're an old head R&B person, you're just like, yeah, it's okay, but if you really go back to the, chapter, 2006, song 13 on this album that nobody's heard of, then it's not really that great.
You know what, man? I'm gonna keep the blasphemy to a minimum from both of our sides. I'm naming huge records, and Demar is going on this 2003 no one's heard of.
Like,
Um,
it's like
listen,
you heard the
if
Keisha Cole album from 2007.
that
Then
song I mentioned is Keisha Cole and Lil Kim's biggest song in the past 15 years, and has been
shout out
playing
to
at
them.
parties since it came out, and still plays at parties today.
Which party you at,
But
bro?
the grown folk party.
Yes,
Um, but
you're out here with the
listen.
35 and 45s, yo. I'm like,
Listen, Linda. Okay, let us know what you think in the comments. Of course, you can find us on the interwebs, Album Motopod on X, on TikTok, and on Instagram. Make sure you find us on YouTube, Album Mode on YouTube. Subscribe to us, like this video, and of course, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think, and subscribe to us. Okay, on all your podcast platforms. Leave us a rating and a review, 5 stars, not a single star less. And until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
later days.